Welcome to the Daily Review. This is Razak, Senior Trading Strategist here at CMTrading, and today is June 9th, 2025, and today is Monday morning. So looking at the highlights of the day, U.S. markets advance as they make a recovery ahead of this big week where we have two major inflationary reports coming up later in the week. But today, no major economic events. So looking at the market, starting out with the Forex symbols, the British pound gets a decent bounce, about 50 pips. And looking at the indices, the Dow Jones and the NASDAQ both gain to the upside. Now looking at commodities, gold gets a decent bounce above its 200-day moving average. And looking at the stocks, Microsoft on record highs. And lastly, looking at cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin makes a recovery above 105. So let's look at the markets and see what we can expect from today's trading. So this week may be a little bit interesting with the two major inflation reports, CPI and PPI, coming out of the United States, both on Wednesday and Thursday later this week. But for now, we're getting a little bit of activity in the British pound. Now, it is moving a little bit to the high side. Nothing really, no breakout. Okay, so I don't expect it to break above that 135, but we may inch closer to that resistance before these two inflation reports happen, and there may be a counter move that comes right after it. So you got to think a little bit ahead just to anticipate what the market's going to do. Now shifting over to commodities, gold gets a decent bounce here above its 200-day moving average. That was sweet because it did hit 32.97. It's not big. It went up another 25 basis points, so nothing really fantastic, but a decent bounce for gold. So that's a nice recovery there. Now jumping into the U.S. markets, they did see gains last week. Okay, the NASDAQ right now is a little bit down, but altogether making a massive recovery. Look at this, all right? It's almost at 22,200-ish level as it's made back this entire loss after those crazy tariff wars starting out with the United States and with the rest of the world. And now it's made almost 100% full recovery. Now the tech stocks are relatively strong and they're taking a rotation, as I call it, right? One day it's Microsoft making new highs. Next day it's Netflix. Tesla looks like it's kind of coming back a little bit, all right? But it's not all going together, which kind of is, okay, it's stock specific, which is fine, but it's not giving us like, oh, the markets are recovering. We're not there yet, okay? So keep that in mind as well. Now looking at the Dow Jones, yes, we had a little bit of a day up last week, okay? Again, we're at resistance here, and the Dow Jones is not as strong as the NASDAQ, okay? So this is where it makes the very clear distinction. I'm going to break it down. So let's take a look at Microsoft, all right? Hitting all-time record highs, 472, okay? We're just below that at 470, okay? We are looking at a weekly, okay? So I do want to highlight that. But all intents and purposes, yes, we broke out, but we didn't make a massive breakout. Okay, so this is what's lifting the NASDAQ higher. Now, if we look at Apple, it's okay. It's not trading higher, but it's not trading lower either. And if we look at Tesla, after that massive sell-off with Elon Musk exit from the White House, we saw the, two heads, President Trump and Elon Musk, go at each other, right? Elon Musk removed some of those tweets after, naming and calling out, the president. And this is going to get ugly, okay? And there may still be a recovery. So what's the moral of the story here? The moral of the story is the markets are still volatile, okay? And there's no rhyme or reason to it. It's not based on economic factors. It's based on more emotional factors. So just, you as a trader have to make that shift and just to realize that it's not anything about economics. It's not anything about technicals. It's just very fast plays, and they'll give you those opportunities to make the money, which is great, but just realize that you're not doing it on technical stuff, okay, and you're doing it more on price action kind of action, okay? So that's really important to note. Now Cisco did pivot to its highs. Now this is super important because Cisco is a super important stock, but if we look at Nvidia, it moved to close to its highs but didn't go back to its all-time highs. And this is what I'm talking about. This is taking a rotation, all right? Not everything is going together. Now if we look at Netflix, which did make all-time record highs about a couple of weeks ago, it's okay, it's just off of its record highs at 1241, and that's okay. Okay, we're not selling off here. But this is what's lifting the NASDAQ again to the high side. So keep that in mind. So there is still those rotation. And just to cover a Dow Jones stock, JP Morgan, pretty much topping out here, not trading out higher, and trading very close to what the Dow Jones is at its resistance and level. And I would keep an eye on this as the inflationary reports come out later this week. Now, lastly, looking at Bitcoin, a nice move to the upside, okay? A nice little bounce. As we sold off, we bounced right back, which is showing some resilience when it comes to Bitcoin, showing some strength, and that's super important. This is the Fed Razak. I want to wish you guys a great trading day. Thank you.